Hey guys, Will here, playing some Hearthstone. As you can see, I'm using a fairly gimmicky deck, a mage deck with the Mana Worm, Coin, and Mirror Image combo. That's a very strong opener, but the whole point of this deck is a spell damage deck. So this deck, really I built it around Malygos, even though I don't get him towards the end of the game. I don't get him until the end of the game because obviously he costs 9 mana, but he's very fun to play. He has very high spell damage, he gives +5 spell damage, and that's very good. But basically, I built this deck around using spells, so I have things like Violet Teacher, and I have things like the Gadgetzan Auctioneer. You know, it's all about using these spells, and really about empowering the Mana Worms. I got really lucky with that Coin, Mana Worm, Mirror Image combo. That's it's a very strong opener that's hard to deal with, unless you have like a Frostbolt in hand. And this guy did not have that, so I really started getting a lot of tempo on him early on, and all they could do was try and ping away at me. But when you have 2 mirror images, it's pretty difficult to come back from that. And then I got my second Mana Worm on the field. Now I didn't really have any spells in my hand at that point, so it wasn't really a big threat, but again, it was a big, well, it could become a big threat if I had more spells. And I'm not sure why he pinged that one when he could have just pinged my other Mana Worm, then he drops his own. It doesn't really make sense to me why he would ping the other Mana Worm. I guess maybe he was preparing for a blizzard in a couple turns, but even then, he could have finished off my Mana Worm before he got there, so it didn't really make any sense to me. I decided to play my Violet Teacher here, because I figure maybe I'll get lucky and draw another spell, and then I'll have an even bigger board. And then next turn I figured if I didn't draw another spell, I would go with Gadgetzan. Although that does leave me open to a blizzard, and if I remember correctly, that's what happens. And that's kind of to be expected, you know, when you overextend this far, you kind of expect a blizzard. But, you know, what can you do, right? It's better to play something than nothing most of the time. Yeah, and I definitely have an advantage right now. He Frostbolts my Violet Teacher, not really a big deal. It does, and then he plays the Shattered Sun, so it prevents me from getting an amazing trade. I just figure it's probably time for me to trade out my Mana Worm for his at this point, because I can't really do much else. So what I end up doing here is I do trade them out, and then I don't take out his Shattered Sun, because if I was going to take out his Shattered Sun, I'd have to ping it and then trade my Mana Worm, and I wouldn't have any mana to play anything else. Instead of doing that, I decided to just go for the face with my Mana Worm, and then, like I said, here I was open to a blizzard, and I believe that is what he does. Yeah, there's the blizzard. And you know, when you overextend like I did there, you really have to expect a blizzard, or a flame strike next turn if you didn't have blizzard there. And then he trades that, so we kind of get a board reset, and I don't really have anything to play at this point. I'm like all out of spells, and I mean I have spells, but I don't want to waste them, because I'm just kind of waiting for Malygos now. And Malygos is a very strong card, kind of. He's a little bit weak, actually. Compared to cards like Ragnaros and Ysera, he's not very good, because Ragnaros and Ysera, they have an immediate effect when you play them. Ysera gives you that dream card, which can be very, very good, and Ragnaros has a huge board presence immediately. You know, he'll take out a big minion for you, or, you know, he'll just take out another target for you, and so he's very good. Whereas Malygos, you know, you play him, he's the essence of magic, but he doesn't really do anything for you that turn. A lot of times he'll just get polymorphed or silenced before you can do anything with him. So I usually like to wait to play him till turn 10. As you can see in this major deck, that's actually what I end up doing. I don't play him on turn 9. The reason I want to wait to play him is because I like having the ability to do the Arcane Missiles combo with him. So if you notice, I save my Arcane Missiles here because I want to use them with Malygos. Because if you use Arcane Missiles with Malygos, you get 8 damage. It's an Avenging Wrath for 1 mana. Although, of course, you have to factor in the Malygos cost 9, but that is a great turn 10 play. And Malygos is also good in some other decks, like Druid decks with Moonfire. That's probably the best deck to use him in. See, if you notice, I almost play Malygos here, but I'm like, no, I won't be able to do anything. He'll probably just either trade his minions and then use a spell on it, or maybe he has a poly. So what I do is I just hit that, and then I wait, because I figure I'm probably going to use my Arcane Missiles here, and I want to damage the minions a little bit more. And then he Arcane Missiles me, which isn't really a big deal. I believe, yeah, he ends up trading his Swamp Ooze. It's a pretty good trade for him. But he doesn't know that I'm back in Malygos. Like, at this point, I think he thinks he's got me. Because but I have a lot of cards on him, and that's a problem for him. There we go, Essence of Magic. Probably my favorite saying to drop a card. The only other good one that I really like is, put your faith in the light, that Tyrion does. I think that's a good one. And at this point, I've won the game, because he has no way to respond. Like, he silences Malygos, but that doesn't really help him. Because I can just Blizzard this, and that's what I end up doing. Yeah, he had to silence Melly and freeze him. He's pretty scared at this point. And then I draw Rag, which is a little bit overkill, but that's when I end up playing on the next turn and finishing him off with. Yeah, so this deck, I mean, I built it around Malygos. In most games, he doesn't really help me. In this one, he wasn't absolutely necessary. I was already kind of winning because of that great Mana Worm play at the beginning. But he's just so fun to play. And I think that if Ragnaros and Sarah get nerfed, I think Malygos would actually see some play. Anyway, that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and
my magic will tear you apart.
Your opponent's left.
Well played.